Alright guys, so real quick before we go into the actual review, if you probably noticed from the last video, yeah, I built that last night. Took about an hour and a half. And all the other stuff was put up as well. Just doing some remodeling in the house to get my mind off shit. If you're wondering what happened to the pops, I'm still collecting them. It's just I've cut down on the collection and also going to tighten the list of what I want. I'm still going to be getting like a lot of horror like a lot of horror pops, um, some anime, some cartoons here and there, but I'm really kind of like narrowing the list down of what I want, just because I have a finite a finite space in this area. So yeah, but that's where I put all the DVDs and the Warhammer books. So all the Blu-rays are going to go on that shelf. Yeah, I can point to things. Anyway, so just I knew some people probably watched the previous video and was like, "Where the fuck are the pops? Did he get rid of them all? Not all of them, but yeah." And I am looking for like a new way to showcase the figures at some point. Anyway, so let's talk about our the review of this video, and that is Wolverine in the Bones. This is another comic that was sent to me by my friend Chris. Thank you once again, bro. And yeah, this is another from the X-Men from the Ashes one storyline. This is yeah from that era. I took a little break to do some other books, but I wanted to go back and review more. I know Chris is sending like Storm, and I think he's also sending Psylocke. But yeah. But Wolverine I was curious about because Saladin Ahmed had been announced as the writer, and I've been liking his Daredevil run, so I was curious to see what he was going to do with Wolverine. But yeah, so this comic takes place right after X-Men #1, where Logan decided to go out into the Alaskan wilderness to just kind of like recoup because he feels like responsible for what happened on Krakoa, and it's just like maybe it's just better I just go back to basics and lives with a pack of wolves, and that only works for all of one issue because yeah, we already know he's going to be part of Gail Simone's Uncanny. So in here, this is just Wolverine coming back to the world, and Logan essentially is like he's brought back, forced into the world by Cyber, which I gotta say, it's really cool to see Cyber again, one of Wolverine's other enemies. So Cyber tries to draw Wolverine out. Nightcrawler helps him, and this leads to Logan realizing, yeah, like mutant kind still needs Wolverine, so I'm gonna get back out there. But before he does, remember when I said Cyber framed him? Yeah, Department H is looking for him, and that's when he stumbles upon a Wendigo. And not just any Wendigo, a young teenager who was due to situations was forced to eat someone and then become the Wendigo. But he's actually trying to like fight the curse. So Logan stays behind in Canada to help this kid figure out who retrain himself. And he sees a lot of like that wild animal in himself through this kid. On top of that, there's something else going on. That's just one story. The main story of this is that something else, some kind of parasitic entity called the Adamantian, is going after and seeking out beings with adamantium within them. It's what, like, basically it parasitically connects to Cyber, then Deathstrike, and, of all characters, the Constrictor, who I forgot his whips were adamantium. But yeah, so this story is pretty cool. Like, this story's been fun so far. I will say, though, that I've never been the biggest fan of, like, changing some kind of metal and making it more. That was my problem with, like, everyone trying to make nth metal more than it was. But this adamantium thing, adamantium storyline looks interesting, that it's almost like a living metal in its own right and is trying to be like a more pure form of adamantium. Does this mean we're going to get Gold Claw Wolverine at some point? I imagine if that hasn't happened in the single issues already. Again, I'm just reading in trade. Yeah, I also really like how Ahmed writes Wolverine, in that he tries to be all big and tough and tries to be like, yeah, I'm a loner again, and I was stupid to be on a team. And then it's like every action movie where like Nightcrawler's like, I'm building a team. We're not part of a team. I need a team. We're in, or I'm in. Yeah, it's like that. But Logan even like says to himself, like, I'm lying to myself. Like, what am I even doing out here? Like, what am I even doing out here? All I'm gonna do is just if I stay out here, I'm just gonna get more people killed by inaction. I also really like this new, I've always been a fan of seeing the Wendigo in things, and this new Wendigo named Leonard, that's the kid's name who became the Wendigo. Leonard be kind of part of this new Wolverine family. So the Wendigo's always been connected to Wolverine, same with Hulk, but it is kind of cool that now we're getting a Wendigo that is kind of like trying to fight against its nature, much like Logan is most of the time. Yeah, it's pretty solid. This whole thing with the adamantium, I'm wondering where it goes, because I do know it. Romulus does play a role in it, and when you hear, I'm sure every Wolverine fan heard the word Romulus and rolled their eyes. But I'm curious to see where it goes. I'm wondering, since we have this thing is affecting people with adamantium. I'm wondering if we're going to get to Bullseye at some point, because remember, Bullseye does have an adamantium in his bones. I think it's just his spine and his skull, but I don't know if they've given him more adamantium in his body. And remember, Saladin Ahmed is writing Daredevil, so it could be a Wolverine Daredevil storyline, which Wolverine did show up in Ahmed's Daredevil run previously, being possessed by the demon of lust. So maybe we could get, since he's writing both, and Bullseye does have adamantium in his body, could be that we get a Wolverine Daredevil team up event. That was kind of my thought when it was first announced that he was going to be taking over the book. I was like, so how long until we get a Daredevil Wolverine story? Anyway, so Wolverine in the Bones, it's a lot of fun. Do I like it more than Ben Percy's run? The previous run? No, but it doesn't do. But also, I'll give Ahmed that he's not trying to replace Ben Percy's run. I will say that his Daredevil run is bothering me because he's trying to undo a lot of the stuff Zdarsky did. But here it's but the thing with Wolverine, I've noticed with a lot of Wolverine runs, it's really hard to fuck up a previous run of Wolverine, because it's Wolverine's such an easy character to follow. So you could really do anything with him, and it wouldn't really fuck up the rest of the story, unless you're trying to change everything and say that Wolverine started the Weapon X program, right, Jeff Loeb? Anyway, so Chris, thank you once again for the comic, and yeah, if you've read this story, let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of it. Comment below, let me know. Other than that, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.